It's been about 18 months that I'm in this new mission with all of you at Danone. And I feel well, personally, well aligned with our collective ambition is to build and create a completely unique story for Danone. Yet managing the time horizon, which I think is critical to be able to build the short term, the mid-term, and the long term, and making sure that we always look at our decisions on these three horizons at the same time. And I think the discipline that we've been able to put together, the new ways of working beyond budget, One Danone, are contributing to create this ability to dream about the long term and yet deliver the short term, as the full year numbers have shown last year. And hopefully we'll continue to show this year a good level of growth with a solid improvement of our profitability. I think Danone has incredible strength and unique assets to invent our future. As I shared with our shareholders a few weeks ago, there is a strong and unique alignment of our ambition, our mission, and our businesses. And this creates a unique blend to invent, participate in a food revolution that will gradually inspire healthier, more sustainable eating and drinking practices for our consumers, for Danoners. So that's the dream. The challenge, I think, the main challenge is the pace of the change. How fast, how far do we go? Because although what we're doing, I think, is really fundamentally nourished by the culture of the company, our DNA, the engagement of the teams of Danoners, which is a true source of inspiration. In the same time, I can feel, and I think the COMEX team can feel, that there is a lot of pressure on the change. And this is, for me, the most critical point that I need to manage with the rest of the team. In the Danone story, I think Latin America has a very special place, because in a way it has been one of our first new frontiers. When we started in 1983 in Brazil, for instance, started the Mexican business, acquired water businesses in Argentina, in Mexico with Bonafont. We have learned a lot through the devaluations, the crises, the many crises. We have learned about new ways of distribution, capillary distribution. We have learned a lot through our partnership with Mastelone in Argentina. I remember putting together a specific handheld device when we put Temis in place 10 years ago for the sales force of Bonafont in Mexico. And so we have learned a lot. And I think that what characterizes Brazil, Argentina, Mexico for us is that they are countries that are completely fit with this Danone vision of inspiring healthier diets, drinking and eating. Mexico is one of the worst obesity rates around the world. Brazil has this double burden of malnutrition on one side and overweight of children already. And Argentina is keeping abreast with difficult crises that puts a lot of pressure on people's budget, including spending to nourish themselves. And so and other countries are faced with, in this region of the world, Uruguay and others, with their own challenges. So I really believe that this vision is very well fit to Latin American situation when it comes to food and beverage. Another aspect is that this is probably the region in which, in beverage, we are mostly and most directly competing with the big guys. When you look at Mexico, we're directly competing with Coke and Pepsi and Nestle systems in an unparalleled manner. So it requires a lot of expertise. We have learned a lot, and I think we need to continue to really learn a lot about brands activation, fight on the street, in the shelf, in the secondary placement, in making sure our brands are available, because this challenge of nutrition and the change in these eating and drinking habits will only happen if the Danone's teams, so your teams basically, are fully engaged up to the street, from the factory to the street, into this change and this change of perspective. And so I think again that Latin America is very well fit with the vision that's being developed by all the teams of Danone today. What I expect from your teams, and actually I should say the same for medical nutrition in Brazil, for ELN in Brazil, in Argentina, is that you truly have a role to contribute to Danone's ability to influence, to change the paradigm of how people eat and drink for their own health and for the health of the planet. There are many things already the CBUs in Latin America have done. I think that we should be more inspired by what brands like Villavicencio in Argentina have done on the sustainability of the water catchment and source. I think that we should be inspired more about what the Ecosystem Fund is doing with Novo Ciclo in Brazil, with Mexico, with Argentina, collecting garbage and plastics to recycle. But also I think that from a business standpoint, I expect Latin America to provide Danone with double-digit growth in the future, which is the long-term potential, I think, for our categories in this region. I have seen many examples in Argentina, in Mexico, in Brazil, Uruguay, where we're actually growing faster than our competitors. So we have evidence that we know how to do that if we address things rightly. Now, there are a few things to, of course, and a number of challenges to overcome from a business standpoint. We know that we need to rebuild part of our distribution in dairy in Brazil. We know we need to expand our capacity in Brazil, in water, in dairy, in ELN, in medical nutrition even, probably. We know, as I mentioned, in Argentina, that this crisis needs to be addressed with very specific ways. And in Mexico, we will continue to be challenged by the big guys in beverage. And in dairy, we have started since 18 months to see growth again, and that's good, and we should continue. And so back to my point about the short, mid, and long-term horizon, I expect a solid, profitable growth from both dairy and water CBUs in the region. Back from 2016 to 17 and going forward. And I really would like to see Latin American CBUs as key contributors to the food alimentation revolution of Danone, and to build an inclusive business model, which I think is necessary in these Latin American countries if we want our business to be sustainable in the long term. So I hope that your workshops and your work all together will be a source of inspiration for our ambitions in this region. And thank you very much for what you are doing today and what you will continue to do tomorrow.